was going to say, as far as the older generation, don't try and minimize the feelings of the younger generation. I feel like what happens often is people say like, oh, well, you're only 20 something or whatever. Like, you haven't experienced something. Like, you don't know much. I feel like we grow at such a much faster rate than like previous generations did. So I feel like we are actually going through a lot of real life stuff right now. So don't try and minimize somebody's feelings and be like, you only 18, you only 19, you're only 20. Like, it's people that's 18, 19, 20 with $1 million businesses or whatever the case may be. Like, we're actually out here doing things and going through things.
Yes.
All right, welcome to another edition of Social Proof Podcast. This is a very special episode because we are announcing there's a new, fresh group of people. I feel like Diddy when he signed like 112.
Without that contract.
I feel like finding a new group, right? But in this influencer, information, social media age, there are always going to be emerging voices. Mm-hmm. And I think I was just I had a lot of you all in mind when I was thinking about, we need to expand because there's an audience that I can't reach. No matter how prolific I think I am, there's certain voices that just will not listen to me. Mm-hmm. But I still want to have an impact on that Gen Z generation. Just how I think I've somehow impacted you all in some way, right?
Yeah. Sure.
But I think you all are going to be the ones that are you are ones that have been gathering information from successful people from my generation and speak in kind of like translating that information to your audience. And all of you have been growing in your own way. So we are launching the Growing Painz Podcast. Growing Painz. So I'm going to ask each one of you, what do you think growing pains means to you in your Gen Z states? Start with Trey.
Oh, we got to start with me. I think growing pains mean for me, just basically like overcoming any obstacle. There's no challenge that you can't get over. So it's pretty much just like,
Are you sure that there's no challenge you can't get over?
I'm sure.
You're sure?
I'm sure.
There's some challenges you cannot get over.
Like what?
Let's say someone passes away. Some people never get over that.
Yeah,
that's a choice.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a choice because you choose how you let it affect you. I know people who have like experienced loss and grief and they're still in the same place that they were when they lost that person. But you can also choose to, that doesn't mean you forget about the person or you just move on, but you find new ways to just continue to live life without them being there. Like, move past it.
You ever been in love with somebody? Like, deeply in love?
How did it dangerously end? In love?
Well, actually, my first love passed away when I was 17. He was 18 in college, and he died trying to save somebody else. He drowned.
Oh my God!
And that was like my first time actually experiencing, like, I felt my heart literally broken. Like, it was the worst pain I've ever felt in my whole life. Like, it was terrible.
How'd you get over it?
It took a while.
Like, what's a while?
It took a few years because you still have those moments where you just like think about the person and you like just break down and cry. I still was like close with his family. I did like his little sister's prom dress. So like going over there, still being around them, even just thinking about the fact that like he was so young and his life just ended like that.
But why did it take a couple years, and why couldn't you just decide the next day to just keep going?
Because I'm still human. I mean, you still feel things.
Yeah, but how long does it take to not feel the thing anymore?
Okay, so I'll say you feel it a lot when it first happens, but as time starts to go on, then you just, instead of you being sad every day, now you just may have like sad moments every other month, and then it'll go from sad moments every other month to, sad moments like every 5, 6, or 7 months, And so it just kind of spreads out, but you still take that time to like grieve,
Yeah, let me ask y'all, and this is kind of from a different generation's perspective. Some people look at black people and say, come on, man, it was just slavery. Get over it. Like, y'all had a black president. But there are layers of trauma that is not easy to get over. That's why I'm just challenging what you're saying.
I'll walk right into that.
You can't just get over. However, you are going to have to live long enough to experience and understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, but the cool thing is, in your generation, I think when I was, Marcus, I would imagine like when you were, how old are y'all? 18, 19, 20. You think, yo, we just keep on living. We just keep moving. But as you go along, you go through some stuff. Now, I don't want y'all to like, I still want you to have the mindset like, yo, it's just positive, just get over it. But for you to even really be super effective with your audience, you're going to have to embrace that stuff that's coming your way.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily the fact of like, oh, I'm just happy now. Like, I'm going to get over it and like move on to the next thing. Like, I personally, thankfully, haven't experienced like a death like close to me that like has hit home. And hopefully it's no time soon. But I will say that like, you may go through things or things may tend to hurt you in a different way. But over time, it starts to like ease up a little, I would say, in a sense. Because like we all know that at some point in life, like we're coming, like it's coming to an end. So it's like, I'm trying to not say the wrong words because, like I said, I haven't experienced like.
I'm not gonna challenge you.
But definitely like I just feel like you have to like grow through it. It's a growing pain. So it's like I'm here now, but I can get past that. Like life doesn't stop when somebody passes. You still have to pay bills. You still have to do that kind of stuff. So it's like it doesn't just stop. I'm sure they would want you to move on, and they would do the same. It may take them time, but it's like we can't just stop our life because of like a traumatic experience, or else like that's when you're really gone. Like you're tapped out completely because you need to be able to push forward through those things and be able to like I'm sitting here today because I pushed forward through depression. I pushed forward through like overcoming obstacles. You keep saying like, oh, you slimming down. like literally like I was going through like a mental state in 2019 all the way up until last year. But like Jada said, it's a choice to sit in it. Cause literally all last year, all I learned was that I just sat in my depression. I was blaming other people. Yeah. Oh, this is why I didn't get this done. This is why I didn't do this. This is why this person don't like mess with me this way. But it's like, no, you got to look internally within yourself. Right. So I noticed like it was a choice of mine to either sit there and like just forever sit there, and like I always say on the podcast, like I don't want to be old and like soggy and like struggled up and like, you know, just like sitting there looking back like, dang, like I really didn't do what I wanted to do. Yeah. So yeah, that's my perspective, is that you grow through
old and soggy.
And I want to piggyback on what Jada said. I lost my mom when I was 12, so it's a little different, you know. Had 2 younger brothers and an older sister.
Yeah.
But when I lost my mom, it's like, okay, what do I got to do to be a man? You get what I'm saying? So I had to go through those growing pains. Yeah. You know, I had to be a man. I had to learn lessons, and I had to be a role model for my brothers, you know. So it's definitely different for me because it was a journey, you know. And going through that journey, I just had to keep going. I had to find my purpose. And with that purpose, I was able to, like, get better. I was able to do good in school. I was able to do a lot of successful things because, sadly, because of that death in my family. So,
right.
You know, it's tough, you know.
Do you remember how you felt?
It was kind of tough growing up. You know, we had 2 separate households, so I lived with my dad, and on the weekends I would...
Not the situation. Do you remember how you felt?
Yeah, it was very painful. You know, at that time I was getting really close to my mom, and we were splitting custody, you know, so I was getting to know who she was as a woman. She was coming to my games on the weekends. We had a lot of tough times because, like I said, the custody battle was an issue with my stepmom and my mom. But it really hurt, but I didn't dwell on it for too long. I knew that in order to make her proud, I had to be a role model, and I had to get my stuff together, which was getting straight A's, going to college, getting married, all these things that you want to do in life. I just found my purpose, and every single day it was about, okay, who can Runzel T be, and how can I make my mom proud? You know, so that's what it was all about.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
25. How old are you, Trey?
19, turning 20 in a couple days.
You only say
gotta mention
that when you're 19, turning 20. Bro, you're 19. Growing Painz. Sean.
I feel like my answer to that is like pain is. I don't think pain is an excuse not to grow. I feel like we'll say. I think most people might see this and they might think, well, this might be sad or this might be ill will towards people that feel depression or they might feel negativity. But I believe that every pain that I've gone through has allowed me to grow. Every heartbreak, every loss, every setback, it's forced me to grow. It's forced me to be better. Whether that was from losing my baby sister, whether that was just me having a fallout with a real close friend that I had, and even with this when I was wrestling and I got pinned down and embarrassed, like all of that stuff builds you up into the man that I am today anyway. So you have a choice at the end of the day, even though everybody's going to go through pain, but everybody also has a choice. Like there's always two sides to the coin. So I think growing pain means to me that even though you're going to go through some pain, you have the choice to grow. So if you're not growing, it's because you're choosing not to.
I think a lot of y'all were talking about like the choosing word.
Yeah.
When you say like you choose not to go through it or you choose not to feel a certain way, what does that mean exactly?
I would say like for me, like for example, my father wasn't in my life. So the whole time that he wasn't in my life, I chose to like play victim and like, oh, this is why I'm acting out in school. This is why I'm doing this. This is why like this is happening. This is why I'm having trouble like creating a strong bond with my stepfather. This is why like I'm battling against my mom, when really your parents, like for the most part, like your parents or even if it's not a parent, like somebody that loves you, they're not an enemy. They're trying to help you and they're trying to guide you the right way. So it's like you said, like we all said, like it's like a choice to sit there and like allow this to have a strong impact on your life that you choose not to move. Like I can choose not to, when I have children, I can choose not to like be in their lives, or I can choose to be in their lives and show them a better version of what a father is and what a stand-up person is. Because most of the time, like I used to think like, dang, like how could somebody that like I resemble in a sense, and like people was telling me like, oh, like you got a little anger issues like him, like that's why you acting out of school and different things like that. So like how can somebody that like I resemble and I don't even really know them, like I still don't know a lot of things about him. I've seen him before, I've been around him multiple times, but it's just the fact that we don't have a relationship. But one thing that I realized as I got older is I can't continue to blame him for his mistakes. And all I can do is just be a better man, of a better version of myself, and be a better man for myself and for the people that I want to impact, which is my family, my little brother, different things like that. And the last thing I'll say is I noticed as I got older, life isn't like sweet. Like life is going to hit you. It's going to throw a couple jabs and then you got to duck, like all of that stuff. So it's like I began to realize that maybe he wasn't in my life because he had his own struggles that he was going through. Like there's some things that I won't speak on because it's not my story to tell, but like he's had some things going into his life, and then even like some of his siblings and things like that, like they all have like certain things or habits that they allow to like overtake them as a whole.
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like awareness might be better than choose. Because sometimes you can be acting out, but you don't know it, you know?
Yeah.
Give me an explanation.
Huh?
Give me an explanation.
I would say for me personally, I used to have like a negative self-view about myself. And then I started to project it on other people, right? But then it wasn't...
What do you mean? What was your negative view and how did you project it on other people?
Well, I would say I feel like it started when I was younger because I used to have eczema, which is like a skin condition. And so I grew up with a lot of insecurity, right? And so I feel like, and that was like a major part of my childhood. So I feel like it's kind of ingrained in me for me to be, like I'm so used to being insecure. It's like now I'm hostile sometimes, or...
You're hostile?
Sometimes, yeah.
Have y'all seen her hostile?
Not yet.
She's growing.
You seen it a little bit?
Not so much. No,
I know she has the potential.
Yeah.
Don't get her there.
I would say also, I remember I went through a season where I just thought I was like so dumb, bro, right? And in that season, I was angry with everybody. Maybe not my family, because I have a soft spot for them, but like my friends and stuff. I would be like rude sometimes or passive aggressive. And it wasn't until I was aware that, okay, I'm just projecting, you know? So I feel like awareness might be better than choosing.
Yeah. I'll add to that because I feel like, well, actually, to add to what you said about choosing, I know that every time that I was depressed, it was because I chose to sit in it. Like, how I imagine it is you see two options, right? You can either choose the road to take care of your mental space or whatever and actually take care of yourself and get yourself into a better state mentally, emotionally. But then there's also this road that you could take where it just tells you to just sit in it, right? And I would clearly see the two choices that I could make, and I would say, I'm going to just sit in it. I don't want to even try and make myself feel better. I'm just going to sit here. Like, so that's how I feel about the choice. And that's with every like hard thing that I've been through. Even the other week when I had told you about like the sexual assault, I was sad for days, and then I said, I don't like being sad like this. So I'm just going to move on. Not saying I forgot what happened, but it was just like, I don't want to sit in this anymore. And then even how you said like about self-awareness, I feel like for me, I did not start to become a better version of myself until I became self-aware. Literally, I was barely making any progress for the longest. Like, I was moving so slow throughout my life. I kept having the same situations over and over and over until I became self-aware, and I realized, dang, these are all the things that you're struggling with. You're a jealous person. You can be really selfish. Like, you BS stuff. Like, you don't even, you act like, I used to love putting on a show like I do my best. I was not doing my best. Like, I would act like it though. And I used to get so mad because my stepdad was the only person that would call me out on that. He would call me a BSer all the time, and I used to get so mad because I think I'm putting on a pretty good show. Like nobody calls me that. Exactly. But he always saw through it. But then I had to even become self-aware in that. Like, so it was like this whole list I created. Like of all these habits, like during the pandemic, of all these habits that I was like, okay, this is who I really am. Like, this is the bad of what I am. I always trying to like glorify the good about me. Like, oh, you're young, you're an entrepreneur, you're a fashion designer, you got all these clients and stuff. But it's like, no, like you really got a long list of stuff you need to work on. And so I feel like once I became self-aware in those things, that's when I finally began to grow.
And also embracing it too. Like, I feel like most people, especially at our age, we try to hide it. We try to put up a wall. And that's our version of trying to dodge the responsibility. Because again, the responsibility is heavy. We're not used to it. But like growing through pain doesn't mean hiding from it. I mean, hiding from it just lets it sit there and marinate. I mean, a plant can't really grow if it's hiding in the shade. I mean, it needs light. It needs to grow. It needs to have the nutrients that it needs to grow and get through that situation. So in our case, it's, having our own community, having these, again, like I'm grateful to have you guys a part of my circle, because now I can feed off of y'all energy, and then from there go back and forth, and I can grow through it instead of hiding from it, instead of being by myself and kind of just dwelling on it by myself. But even still, you can. It's just, it makes it faster by having people in your corner.
I was just about to say that too.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, you becoming a better version of yourself, and even the choices that you make. So when you choose to either take that road of depression or take the road of, choosing better, a lot of that also has to do with your environment too. I know friends who, like, when they were sad, say they just went through a breakup, the friends they had around them, say I'm the only positive person, but the friends they had around them, the majority, it's like, girl, just go to the club, get drunk, like, just forget about it, like, and they're basically telling you, mask how you're feeling, avoid how you're feeling. And so you have to have like an environment around you that makes you want to choose the higher road, even if they're not there. Like, when we make these choices to choose, like, oh, do I want to stay depressed? Do I want to stay sad or angry? Or do I want to choose the higher road? We're typically by ourselves when we make that choice. But because of the type of people you have around you, that will help influence what choice you make.
Think of a number in your head. How much do you think it would cost for me, a pretty successful entrepreneur, to coach you every single day, to give you all of the game? I'm talking about every day for an entire year, Monday through Friday. I'm on a virtual call teaching you how I've done the things that I've done, and me updating you every single day in real time on all the business moves that I'm making, all the negotiations that I'm in, everything that I'm doing before I actually do it. How much you think? And let's say Monday through Friday, and then on Thursdays we do a Q&A where not only do you get a chance to ask your questions and get them answered, but you get to hear the answer from a whole community, hundreds of other people on a call, and you get their answers that are going to help you too. What do you think? And once or twice a year, get together, free conference that we all get to come to, and you get to meet all these people that you see virtually. How much do you think that would cost every single year? 10,000? Not even close. It would probably be closer to 100,000 because it's just, my time is valuable, and to give you the sauce that's going to help you make millions, I'd have to charge you at least 100,000. But what I've done is created a community where you get the advantage of learning how to become an entrepreneur. You get to network with hundreds of entrepreneurs every single day. You got a community that keeps you inspired and excited. You will read a book club with us every single day. We'll also have an event where we come together once or twice a year for free. We do all of that for $399 for the year. Go ask somebody. I've got receipts of things that I built over the last decade, okay? I am willing to coach you. $399 for the year. Listen, go to themorningmeetup.com or click the link in this video. Let's get back to the episode, but keep in mind, I want to coach you. Let's get started.
And I like what you said, like you're by yourself. All last year, like literally, I had to be by myself. Like I had did so many things to like for the last, from 2019 all the way up until that, like last year in November, before, like when I did the fast, like what I learned was like the reason why I'm working so hard and like trying to become this successful person is because you're scared. Like you're scared and you're trying to put on a mask because you want people to celebrate you and you don't want them to see your flaws. Like I remember in like last year, like every day I will lock my door and like I don't want nobody to come in. I don't want my mom, my stepdad, my brother. Like I literally don't want nobody to come in. I don't want to be bothered. I just want to sit there and like sit in it and like think. But then it became to a point of like, all right, how long we gonna do this? Like, cause I already like been through the phase of like in 2019 where I thought like I couldn't see myself past 21. Like I was like, dang, like something bad is gonna happen to me because I just can't get past my thoughts. Like I'm just like drowning in my thoughts and I don't know how to communicate it. And like you said, Yanni, of being hostile and like stuff like that, like you're putting on a show, you're putting on a image to like try to be like look like you have it all together, or you're gonna defend yourself. Like before, it, like out of insecurity, if like the most common thing that my aunt and my mom used to say, or still says to this day, like they'll be like, oh, like you know, it's fine. Like your weight goes up and down, like your father. Like I used to hate like my shoulders, how broad my shoulders is and stuff. And people would be like, oh, like, you know, you're gonna be a football player. I'm like, bro, like, no, I'm not. Like, so it's like different things like that. Like I used to hate that, that like people will like be like, oh, like you're gonna be a football player, all that stuff. Because I knew like there's something else that I really wanted to do. So yeah, it just really takes like being quiet and like understanding like what is it that I need to work on? Because a lot of times we already know. It's just being like confident enough and taking the urge to take the next step into the next chapter of your life.
Yeah. I would say I remember in 2020 that was like one of the hardest years I've had. And I was by myself, but I would say I grew a lot during that year. Mentally, my relationship with God, so spiritually. My character changed. I dropped habits and stuff like that. So I feel like it's important to be by yourself, but I feel like it's also important for you to be around people that can pour into you and pull you out. Because I remember last year when I was by myself and isolated, I was, like you said, drowning in my own thoughts. Like, you're not good enough. You won't make it. You know what I'm saying? You're not smart enough. Like, you don't have the skill set. Like, I was drowning myself, but I was by myself. It wasn't until I started getting out, you know what I'm saying, hanging around people, and when I started to grow and actually pull myself out of my own mind, you know?
So I got a question for y'all. So we're kind of having different right answers towards like, being by yourself is, key to our growth. Like we all have said, like being by ourselves has helped us grow. But also there's certain people out there that are around our age that they're by themselves, and that's not good. Like, because I was at a place where when I was by myself in 7th, 8th grade, I was suicidal and I almost took my life. But I was by myself, but I was in a bad place. But now when I'm by myself, I can grow from it and nurture myself. So what do you think the difference between like, what are the different types of isolation, or how do you know when isolation will be beneficial for you?
That's a good question.
I've experienced both, but I'm trying to see how to like articulate it. Yeah,
I think it really. I think it just depends on your mindset, honestly.
Yeah.
And when I lost my mom, nobody could really feel my pain. I had to pray every night. I had to surround myself with positive energy. But I'm the only person that got me through that journey, and it was because of my mindset. I knew I had a purpose. I know either it could go left, where I end up in a cemetery or in a jail cell, or I can do right, where I can go to college, find a wife, get married, the dream. Right. But it was the mindset. Like, I just believed in myself. I knew that I could be Ronzel Teague, a person, and I wanted to be somebody.
Right. Yeah.
And I honestly think it just depends on who you surround yourself with. That's very important, but also how you think, and that determines where you go from there.
When y'all say you're by yourself, do you mean physically, like, yo, I'm gonna be in my room, I'm just, like, isolate myself, I'm by myself, or I'm by myself, like, I want to reach out to somebody, but I just don't have anybody?
I think both.
It's both.
I think even when we're around people, like, you can still be alone and be around people.
100%. But when you say, yo, 2020, I was by myself, or are you, I guess my question is, are you saying you isolated yourself from everybody? There's people that are knocking on the door and want to come in, but you're like, I'm by myself. I just wanted to kind of just be alone.
Yeah.
Or are we saying you're reaching out to people, but there's nobody there to help me?
I have a good answer for that.
Yeah.
So,
no, go ahead.
So for me, when I decided, I basically got into I isolated myself in 2022. 2020 also. And for me, I made the choice to go into isolation because the people around me, I realized that it was time for me to like take myself to a new level. Like I just realized, like I said, I had that self-awareness moment. So I realized these are all the things that I'm struggling with. These are all the things that I'm dealing with. I need to take some time to myself to work on these things. But I also realized 90% of the people in my life right now they almost kind of play a part in these habits. They encourage them. They support them. So I'm going to make the choice to separate myself from this environment. And when people ask me to come out or they ask me to do things with them or whatever, I'm just going to say no. And I'm fine with that. I'm not depressed or sad or anything because right now I'm working on myself. But there's the other side of it. I think one of my pastors used to say before, basically like the devil's goal is like to steal, kill, and destroy, right? And he also the devil wants you to get into isolation also. But it's like, the devil wants to get you into isolation, to bring you down, to destroy you, to hurt you. And so we can get into isolation where we make the choice to like do it for like our self-improvement and things like that. But it's also when like, it's like you can be brought down into isolation, into a point to where you're just there in sadness and depression.
But pretty much you're choosing to isolate because mentally.
Yeah.
So whereas some people that we kick out of our life or we try to create distance, but not because they did anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's your mind saying, I want to do things all by myself. Real good example. My wife had a real struggle with being a full-time wife. She really did. I said you could quit your job. She's like, all right, cool. I ain't like being there. But when she did quit her job, she felt like she was losing control. And she's so used to doing things by herself, she actually went back and got a job. It wasn't even about money anymore. It's not like, I need you to make some money to help make ends meet.
Yeah.
But she felt like she was losing control. So she wanted to get back to, okay, I have some sort of control. So I'm going to push away someone's help because I'm in control. But another perspective is, I think there's two ways to not have something. you either can't get it, you can't get the thing, or you decide not to.
Right.
So if you're hungry, if you like want to have some food, it's better to have money and then say I'm going to fast, because I can go get it, but I'm making a decision not to. It's a different scenario when you don't have anything and you're starving by yourself. So some people are in a scenario where they don't have help. That's when isolation is dangerous.
Yes.
Because you can't just go get some help.
Right.
You don't have it. You don't have this circle of people, right?
Yeah.
But some people, you got it. You can go get the help, which could be equally toxic, where I have support, but I'm too prideful to go get it. So I'm going to isolate myself and act like I don't have anything, which I think is just as bad as not having it. Listen, if I was going to teach you how to make $1 million, would you give me 10,000? Like if I had a course teach you how to make $1 million a year positive, you're going to make $1 million, would you give me 10,000? Of course you would. It's no brainer, right? So in a calendar year, we make 7 figures with the podcast. But there's 21 things that I extracted from that you're going to need to launch your podcast. But I only got time to give you 3 right now. One is you need a distribution platform. The distribution platform is what you upload your podcast to. That platform sends it to Spotify, Apple, Google Play, so that your supporters can actually listen to your podcast. You're also going to need a microphone. You need a really good microphone so it's crispy audio. And 3, you need an income strategy. This is not necessarily a hobby, unless you're going to make it a hobby. But I can teach you how I made the 7 figures with these 21 things. Now, the good news is you don't have to give me 10,000. My ebook is only $37, okay? So listen, go to podcastebook.com and get the 21 things that you need. And I can explain it in detail, all the things that you need, okay? Podcastebook.com. Let's get to the episode.
That is true. Yeah, people could.
So I think it's important to decide where you are. I ain't got nobody, or I'm isolated.
Yeah.
You got like that deserves some a conversation.
Right. Or saying like everybody hates me, or like I don't have nobody that supports me. If you got one person, that's your one person that you need to pour into. And even I like what you said, Jada, of like the people that are in your life, sometimes they contribute to it. And you just have to like really figure out like who's really genuinely here to help me get through this and who's not. Like there's so many friends that I had to like I'm grateful for y'all, because there were so many friends that I had like where they're able to tell me everything, like pour onto me everything that they have going on. And then when I start talking, they'll be like, oh, I gotta go. And it's like, bro, like, all right, like, now I gotta cut you out, because like you're adding more fuel to the fire. I'm already got stuff in my mind. And even it would be like, I used to do boxing to like relieve stress, and like, as soon as I leave boxing, somebody's calling me to tell me about how bad their day was. Like, bro, I just got myself together. So, so it's just like different things like that. And I know for me, like I was definitely choosing not to get help. Like I have friends, I have family, my grandma, my mom, my stepdad, different things like that. Like my stepdad, when I used to lock the door last year, he used to tell me like, there's no way you're sitting in these 4 walls 365 days. Like you're about to go insane. He was like, you need to get out and like do stuff. And that's why like I'm glad I moved to Atlanta, because like before, like in November, I'm like, all right, if you're gonna move out here, like you need to fast and get your mind right. You can't just be out here like uneasy and like depressed and like sad and like going through like have no emotional control. And yeah, like you know this, but like I've had like problems with like communication, and I'm like, I know I need to improve on that, because I'm like a very introverted person. Even like my family, they like, you're doing a podcast, you don't even talk. So it's like different things like that. Like, like just opening up and being willing to get uncomfortable.
You do have a really good trait about you too. Where you'll still pick up the phone when you know why I'm calling.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, Trey, I need this thing, right? I need a flyer or something. And he knows, he told me he was going to have it to me last night. This is now the next day. Mm-hmm. So when I call, you know why I'm calling.
Right.
Right? But I think he has a real special trait where he'll still pick up the phone and not avoid it, which is huge. And you guys will obviously, as you start meeting new people, like I've been meeting people for 30, almost 40 years now. and you'll realize some people just shy away, and they just won't pick up the phone, and they'll do it and then send it, and then call me back. That is that like it's like little stuff like that that you see certain flaws in people, but the cool thing is you don't have that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Like,
you could have dropped me a long time ago, but you could have dropped me a long time ago.
gosh.
Like even right before we started recording, he was like, "You still don't have a VA yet." Like that's been something that like I need to get done. If I really want my business to grow, like that's the next level is like starting to build that team, and we've been talking about that forever.
Bro, we were talking about that for like how long have we talking about that? Like a year and a half?
2021.
2021.
Like, since I graduated. Because I remember when we had the content creation boot camp, and I was
Yes.
charging like this. We're not going to say the price, but I was charging this low price, and he was like, bro, that's not even minimum wage. Like, what are you doing? So, yeah, like different things. Like if you have the resources, use them to your best ability. If you don't feel comfortable like sharing with everybody, like share with the people that you know, like, this person is not going to go out and air my business. Like I'm able to chat with them and different things. I'm not really sure how to, like, if y'all have any suggestions on how to get past someone who is asking for help. Like, I don't know if y'all saw 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah.
She was literally had all the signs of like asking for help and nobody helped her.
Yeah, no one
so it's
helped her.
like, what do you do in that moment?
In that moment, it's more so, it's dangerous because like it requires like you to be self-aware and everybody else around you to be self-aware, which is dangerous because if everybody else is not self-aware, but you are, you're still going to feel alone and you still might operate a certain way. So it's kind of dangerous. But I feel like even with our like situations, like I was suicidal, but I'm blessed anyway. Like I still have like, so to a certain extent, like I was always taught this, like, there's always somebody going through something worse than you. Like at the end of the day, like even though like, again, I lost my sister, there's somebody that lost all their siblings. And then you said you lost your mom, there's somebody that lost all their parents and they literally have no parents or nothing. And they're probably maybe adopted or something like that. And they have a whole family that isn't blood related to them. But at the same time, it always can be worse. But at the end of the day, again, the choice is still there. It's just, because I hate full transparency, shout out to Donnie. Like in full transparency, it's gonna be harder, but it's still done. Like difficulty doesn't mean that there's not gonna be growth there. It's just gonna take a little bit longer. Like it's easier to make $10 million with $1 million rather than with $100. Like it's as simple as it is. It's still possible. It's just gonna take more work. So
Yeah, and even like people.
I wanted to get to Yanni and Jada on their definition of growing pains real quick. And then we can get back to it. But
of course.
I didn't hear from you yet.
Okay.
Yanni.
My definition of
Give me that mic
growing
right there.
pains.
pause it.
Put it, yeah. Put it over there.
My definition of growing pains is when you get to a position where you can look at what you went through from a different perspective. So I would say for me, I didn't grow up with my mom in my life. My grandma was in my life, my aunt and my dad, but not my mom. And I always wish I had that mommy-daughter relationship. And so I grew up kind of like mad, like, you know, upset. But then later on, I realized that she has like a mental condition. She has schizophrenia. So then I'm like, oh, so it's not her fault completely because she can't control what she goes through. So I look at it from a different perspective. So now it's not hurting me. I look at it more of a, okay, I understand now, you know.
Got it. Jada.
I
growing
feel like
pains.
for me, it's basically learning how to get over each hurdle that you approach in life, right? So say with each hurdle you approach, it gets higher and higher. You may have to go and train and become better and work on yourself so you can get over that hurdle. But then you approach the next one and it's even taller than the last one. So now you have to like keep trying and keep working on yourself to be able to get over that one. And I feel like it's just a continuous process. Like it's us trying to constantly overcome these hurdles, like as we just go through our journey in life. That's how I view it.
That's good.
Yeah, for someone that's like your age. Okay, so give me everybody's age real quick. We'll start with Jada. How old are you?
24.
24. Trey is
19.
19.
25.
25.
20.
20.
Got you. Gen Z, what do you think your biggest struggle is? What are some of the things that you all deal with that no other generation deals with?
I would say because of social media, it's this really big pressure of I gotta be super, super successful right now. And I see so many people that causes like depression for a lot of people because it's like, dang, I'm 21, 22, and I'm not where I need to be at. You know, I'm not where I want to be at. And so I think that's been like the biggest thing. I feel like I dealt with like comparison a lot for a while. And the only way I was even able to overcome that was by realizing that all these other people I'm comparing myself to, they are like focused on their journey. Like they're doing the things that they need to do in order to get to this success. So it's like me comparing myself is dumb because I'm not doing what I need to do to get there. Like that's literally all it is. It doesn't mean that I can't be successful at 22, 23, 24, 25. It just comes down to what are the things that I'm actually doing. But I feel like when you always have images of all these people around you that are like doing all these great things, like we see it everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, people becoming millionaires, like children becoming millionaires off of reviewing toys, like all this stuff, it be making you think like
that pressure.
Crazy.
Exactly. It makes you think like, dang, what am I doing? Because before social media, even though it could have been all these people doing great things, you don't got to see it. So I feel like that's like the biggest thing.
I think our generation, we have a choice whether we want that stuff to influence us or not. But you all like grew up in social media. It's a part of your life. So of course it matters more to you than it would to, you know, somebody my age.
Right.
But what else? What are some things y'all go through?
I would say still social media, but like self-worth. So I know some people that feel like, oh, I'm not doing well because I'm not getting this many likes. Or, you know, oh, I'm not pretty because I only got 5 likes. Or I didn't get like, you know, I even experienced that myself. Like posting my business, okay, not even my business, for me, posting myself on my page. Dang, I didn't get that many views. Was the video not cute? Let me delete it and post it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I started letting it affect the way I view myself. So
I want to go on a different topic of that. I think it's peer pressure for me. A lot of people cave into peer pressure heavy. You know, I get people that ask me all the time, do I drink? Do I smoke? I tell them I don't. You know, that separates me from those people. But I think peer pressure is it's one of those things that we go through that's relevant in this time. That
I never even thought about that because in our generation, smoking weed was a bad thing. Or like drinking, you kind of gotta hide it, sneak it. But now it's super legal. It's everything, everybody's super free. Like you wasn't just gonna be, much less on camera, but you weren't about to just be smoking in front of a whole bunch of people. Now it's like, yo, we'll on camera. It's like it's a
cool
part
now.
of life. I never even thought about that being like a real pressure because it's not even pressure, it's just normal.
Yeah.
And now I guess you look crazy if you don't want to
do it.
Yeah, but I surround myself around people that align with my visions, my goals, and if you don't, then you gotta go. Man, yo, when growing up in my day, I feel like I'm like a grandfather talking to his kids. Back in my day, if it was like if you were playing music loud and you drove past a church,
it's disrespectful.
You feel me? Like like you turn it down, or like no matter what, you're not about to cuss it no. It's crazy. I'm telling you, it was a way of life. Like there's certain respect you had. Like you're not going to be cussing at no adult. I'm not saying like cussing at them, but you don't even say it around them.
Yeah. I remember I saw this one video of, it was literally a church a party happening in church. Like they were drinking and smoking and dancing on people in a church. That was crazy.
It's up now. No matter, it's wild. We see some things now, man, that like for me, like it's like me and people of my generation, like Marcus, we're looking like, yo, you what? But now it's normal. Yeah. Right? And we're looked at as crazy, like, come on, Grandpa, you don't. You know what I mean? What else did Gen Z face?
I would say like we have so much access. So basically combining everything that y'all said. So like now if a child start crying, here go the iPad, be quiet. Now they on
iPad
TikTok.
kids.
My brother was literally singing Krishan, like Blueface and Krishan. He was like, "It's a vibe all the time." Like, how do you even know that? I wasn't on. Like, I had a DS. Like,
You don't know about that.
I had a phone only because I was going to school. Like, they literally have so much access to the point like they don't even care to see their friends in person
Yeah,
because they can
buttons
just
on
call them. They don't have to like ask their mom, "Oh, can we go here? Can we go here?" Because they can get an Uber if they want to. Like, it's so much access that we
Like a
have and
loss of
stuff like that.
connection.
Yeah, there's a loss of connection, and I would say that the generation between, like, the difference between our generation and yours is like your parents was y'all parents were more strict and like had rules and morals and boundaries of like, don't do this, don't do that. What I think we know better is to allow our children to speak. A lot of times in like your generation, they would say like, be quiet, or you ask why, and it's like, cause I said so. And it's like, that's not communication. That's not like giving your child the reason of, this is why I'm telling you to do this. I'm telling you not to go out with this friend because they're going to lead you to the wrong situation. I'm telling you not to disrespect your teachers because that's how you're going to treat other people. And now nobody likes you. So it's different things like that. Like there's less discipline with us. And we have a lack of like discipline and control of like what we have.
And
like
boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries.
Yeah, I think it's a loss of connection because y'all just grew up unconnected.
Yeah.
Like we can see the loss of connectivity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, cause believe it or not, it was at one point where if you are going to like really hang out with your friends, you had to like actually go hang out with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There wasn't no FaceTime. You had to go to their house. And you couldn't even say, "Oh, like meet me here." It's like you had to knock on their door and see if they were home.
Yeah.
You got the bikes outside laying on the ground.
You see the bikes, you're like, "Oh, y'all linking up."
I feel like we the last.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, like I feel like we the last generation. Like back in my
yeah.
day, I used to be outside, like
No,
in the
like for
snow.
real.
Y'all
I
was
was like,
outside?
I
Yeah.
was a go-to house. Like I had trampoline in the backyard, and then we had like the 4-wheelers, ATVs and stuff, scooters, all of this stuff. So everybody used to come to my house. Like we used to, and look, if I was in trouble, and everyone, it would literally be a whole group of girls that come and knock on my door, and they'll be like, "Can Jada come outside?" It's like, nah, she can come outside today.
You had a phone in school?
So I got a phone when I was 10, but
Bless.
What?
I got a phone when I was like
I mean
6.
that's
I
pretty
got a phone
old.
when I went to college.
Damn.
With,
I feel like 10 is a good
limited
age.
minutes.
5th grade,
College?
6th grade.
Did it have buttons on?
College is crazy.
College.
3 out the 9.
So how'd you
my
survive high
first
school?
phone.
God dang. So what y'all do? So wait, hold up. So if you had
Was it a
a girl on the phone,
No, it was a flip phone.
when you had the little thing with the antenna?
No. Those had to be attached to a car.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh wait, y'all
I
had
didn't
the
know
you
that.
had the
Plug the
dial-up
phone
thing
into
where you
the
had the
car.
little.
That's at your house. But
Okay.
the
yeah, the
phone,
house phone.
car phones used to come in a bag. It was a bag, and you had to like plug in the phone to the cigarette lighter.
That's crazy.
That's interesting.
Y'all really?
We don't do that no more. y'all.
How old were you when you got your first phone?
I was in middle school.
Middle
I used to
school.
share my phone with my grandma in elementary school.
College. You hear me?
My first phones was like a BlackBerry. Like I'm trying to think
How old were you?
I was like 6, but the only reason because my mom like, you
was
know,
an
she had to
old
keep in contact with me, and I was in a charter school, so it was like in an area where none of my family went. So it was like, all right, you need a phone in order to stay connected with me if anything goes wrong. So that's the only reason why I got a phone at 6.
I had the little one. It was like this big, and then it has the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then to text.
The Nokia.
Oh
The one with
yeah.
the little, it has Snake on it.
I played that.
Snake.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think I had no games on mine. It was an itty bitty screen, probably this big, and to text you have to press each number like freaking multiple times just to get to the letter. Like it was no actual keyboard or nothing. That was my first phone, and then I had a flip phone, which was still the same thing. Like still had to keep pressing that number just to get to the letter. But at least it flipped now.
Yo,
And-
well, being connected to like the connectivity makes us more unconnected. So for all of y'all as kids, someone's connected to you, meaning they can get in touch with you because that device is in your pocket.
Right.
When I was growing up, it wasn't.
Once you move, you lose them.
Once you move, you lose.
If I'm not seeing you, you'd have to just the next time you see me or talk to me or communicate with me is the next time you see me in person.
Wow.
Which makes me like if I want to be connected or like have like some human interaction, I actually had to go do something. It wasn't at my fingertips. So right now, y'all decide not to text anybody in a split second. But we'd have to like leave our house and go talk to people or hope we have to see people in person. But the fact that we're like, you guys, you won't understand. You'll never understand being disconnected from the world totally.
Yeah.
Because someone always can get in touch with you or somebody, you can always get in touch with somebody.
Yeah.
So you didn't experience the transition. It's just like, yo, that's just what y'all in.
Yeah. We weren't like fully like, again, we were in the generation that's kind of converging into that. Like I had a phone when I was 6. It was a flip phone too. I remember they got me they put in a little Pop-Tart box. It was crazy. And I had the DS too. I had a DS and then I upgraded that jump to the 3DS. The jump was hard.
The Wii,
The Wii, they know about the PSP. The PSP, they need to bring that back.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we definitely, it's weird. So like, well, to answer that and to answer the question previously, like, I think everybody was saying the same thing. I think self-validation and self-coping has made us weak.
Yeah.
I feel like because I think that's a bad trait that we have because we seek validation from everybody. So like if we have parents or we have people we look up to, we seek validation from them to know if we're doing good or to know how we're doing. So if they're telling us one thing, that's our metric of gauging how well we're doing. Right. So then we took that and put that into something like social media. We put that into having certain friends, even if they were bad friends or good friends. So like, I feel like the validation part and then the coping part was easier too. So instead of actually dealing with the problems, we'll use different things like drinking, smoking, sex, like all this different things to cope with it instead of actually dealing with it. So then again, we grow up, but we don't grow.
We've been doing that though.
We've been, but it's more. It's unfortunate. It's too common now. Like when the first time we went to the club, it was. When I walked in there,
y'all went to the club.
When I went to
Yo, first off,
oh god,
what club y'all going to?
Hey, it was your fault. It's because of
it was your fault. It was
goodness gracious.
But I got it. I got it.
Like, are there 21 and under, or is it?
No,
18?
it was finesse.
Sneak in.
I had to sneak in.
So it's 21 and older.
Yeah.
And you had to sneak in.
Yeah, I was grown. So
in Ocean City, they have one like that.
Yeah,
but he wasn't.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was.
All y'all there? Were you there?
No.
You weren't there. You weren't there.
I was there, but I was
there,
there.
but he wasn't.
He would have to do stuff for you.
Yeah.
Y'all couldn't come to nothing.
He couldn't come with nothing. We went jet skiing.
Who else was with y'all?
MJ. It was a group of us.
MJ
It
was
was everybody.
Oh wait, MJ went home.
You missed out on
It was a group of
whole
people.
Well, we got a
entire time.
podcast summit coming up in Miami. Y'all just.
That guy was
We're gonna be on that.
Hey,
They wanted to introduce me to that life.
Yeah, I want to I appreciate you all for what you're doing in this podcast space and talking to our audience. In a few short words, I want to ask everyone, what do you think the disconnection is between your generation and the generation that you look up to? What is it that you're not getting from us? In short answers, so we can. Let's go, Yanni.
Yanni
gets it done.
I know this might sound.
to think.
Ladies first.
Okay, need some time to think.
Yeah.
Anybody?
I honestly would say it's kids raising kids. You know, I see a lot of people having kids at a younger age, and they don't know lessons in life. They don't know how to be respectful, be mannerable. You know, they don't.
Say
know.
our generation doesn't know how to teach you that.
If a kid is okay, so when I say a kid is raising a kid, like my sister, she had her baby at a young age when she was 15. So, and my mom died. So, you know, it's like, how can you teach lessons to a kid if you haven't even learned them at the age of 15? So I'm just saying, a lot of people are having kids at a younger age and they don't know how to teach lessons in life. They don't know how to raise a kid the correct way. You know?
I feel like that was actually a big thing with like more like your generation, or even when you go older than that, like the grandparents. Wasn't people getting married at like 14, 15 years old?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think y'all waiting a lot longer than we did.
But it's still common. But I feel like that has been going on for a while. Is people having kids young. But I feel like we are going to move differently than y'all did. Even though I don't plan on having kids soon, I still feel like we're going to move differently than y'all did. I feel like y'all were like the last generation to really get your parents' programming that you really had to break. But I feel like for us, like my dad was the type of person where he like all the stuff that like y'all were saying and stuff, like my dad was like hard on me too. Like, the only way you're gonna be successful is if you go to college and just all this stuff, like this older mindset. And I feel like we just became really like what I see with Gen Z and younger people. It's like we become self-aware at a much younger age. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because we have access to so much stuff, but we become self-aware at a much younger age. I feel like now when this generation does start having kids, that we're going to be better parents. Because
I low-key think we will. Not low-key, I high-key think we will.
But I think the you guys have more information to choose from to create your own narrative and your own thought process.
True.
We only had what our
your
parents taught us.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you guys like have the world of information to decide. Okay, I like that. I don't like that.
That's what
I'm
it
gonna
is.
take that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys got more options.
Yeah.
But anybody else? Anything that our generation is not providing you right now?
I would say like just being so like hard sometimes. Like they be talking about like, oh, like this music they make today, the city girls and stuff. Y'all had Freaknik and all that stuff. Like y'all was outside, back outside boys. Like y'all was outside doing y'all thing. So it's like don't sit here and act like y'all wasn't doing nothing. Like y'all was outside, y'all was sneaking out the windows. We ain't got to do that. Like we gotta.
Nah, it's different, bro.
It's the same. I mean, the apple don't fall far. Why?
History.
Why do you think that
itself.
is?
Listen. I heard the song. It was for my first time. I heard people talking about the song. The song with what was it? Cardi B and was it Nicki Minaj?
Megan Thee Stallion probably.
Yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B.
WAP.
Yeah.
That song is wild.
Yo, I was flabbergasted to say that kind of stuff on a song. And it's just so, some of the outfits that people wear now.
Yeah. Oh my
It's
gosh.
out there.
Yes,
Walls,
look,
no
as a
respect.
designer, that be making me so mad. These girls be asking for dresses where they just want it completely see-through, but just put some diamonds on my nipples and my privates. And I just feel like you cannot be serious. But that's literally...
You make it?
No, I don't make stuff like
the money,
that. No, you can keep that. But like, I feel like people be so like.
Yeah, no, that's wild. There's no censorship. Yo, you wouldn't hear like cuss words on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about, like you're not even gonna hear nothing close to a cuss word. You're not gonna see nothing like. The most you would see is maybe a bathing suit at some point, but not a lot, and that was risky on TV. You know what I mean? Because you're thinking, oh well, you gotta what?
I'm trying to think about older MTV.
The only if you think about Baywatch, that was a show. It was about being on a beach and lifeguards and stuff like that. So the fact that they had it in a setting on a beach, it's like, okay, well, you wear clothes appropriate for it. But that was literally like porn kind of. Like that was what people were watching it for, like not for the plot, but I think, who was that, Pamela Anderson? Yeah, so she had a real big top, and that was
A real big top.
it wasn't about the programming. Trust me. Yo, listen, man. First, let me tell y'all, I'm super proud of y'all. If you're watching this, I want you to subscribe to the Growing Painz Podcast, Painz with a Z for Generation Z. I will definitely have some merch, and I want y'all to support it. So, if you are watching this and you're typically kind of like my demographic, maybe like older 30s, I'm gonna be watching it because I want to know how you guys think. But also, if you have like a little brother, or even if you got kids that are Generation Z, you definitely need to watch this podcast because they're going to be giving a lot of information, but also sharing what's going on today, y'all gonna have like more people like me on y'all podcast, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys can kind of get our wisdom from our perspective, but make sure when y'all have us on here, challenge us.
Yeah.
We're not always right. You know what I mean? I don't want, like, if you have like Marcus Rosen, I'm sure he'll be on it. He'll be a great guest. Of course. But he has a particular way of thinking, but don't just go with it because he's who he is, or don't just go with what I say. Challenge it. Right?
Yeah.
So I might have an idea about what I want the thumbnail to look like. And y'all know better than me what y'all want. You might have to say, yo, this our audience ain't gonna be feeling that.
Yeah.
So you gotta, I want you to take ownership of this podcast and make it something that I could never even imagine making a podcast. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to know that you have the freedom to create, and I want you to be creative. So I'll give you some input, but my input is only my thought from my perspective. It doesn't make it right. Okay? So introduce yourselves. Make sure you let everybody know how they can find you. Go and wrap up. Go for it, Jada.
Can I say one little thing?
I knew it.
Because I had an answer for your question I didn't get to say. So I was going to say, as far as the older generation, don't try and minimize the feelings of the younger generation, because I feel like what happens often is people say like, oh, well, you're only 20 something or whatever. Like, you haven't experienced something. Like, you don't know much.
Yeah.
But I feel like we grow at such a much faster rate than like previous generations did. So I feel like we are actually going through a lot of real life stuff right now. So don't try and minimize somebody's feelings or be like, you only 18, you only 19, you're only 20. Like, it's people that's 18, 19, 20 with $1 million businesses or whatever the case may be. Like, we're actually out here doing things and going through things.
Yeah, I like
so
that.
that would be my answer to the question.
Good.
But I am Jada Ellis, your favorite couture fashion designer, and you can find me on Instagram at Jael Official, at JAELL Official.
I love it. Try.
All right, so I'm Travion. I am a graphic designer, so I help entrepreneurs and content creators create graphics and, you know, bring first impressions to whatever it is that they do as far as their brands and their business. So you can find me on Royal Travion, ROYALTREVION, and my business page is Royal T Made It. Royal T without the Y and Made It.
I love it.
I like that, Trey. My name is Runzel T. Jr. Don't
Producer.
forget
So y'all don't see him a whole lot.
Yeah.
He's the producer.
He be throwing those spicy questions in there.
But my name is Runzel T. Jr. Don't forget the Jr. Shout out to my dad. I am a videographer, editor, producer, host, engineer for the Social Proof Network. So you can check me out. I'm excited for this podcast. And yeah, you can follow me on all platforms at Legendary Zell. LEGENDARYZELL. That's it.
Love it.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Ashawn Bennett. I'm a 20-year-old options trader and investor, and I help people understand financial literacy and make it simple. So if you want to find me on any platform, it's CEO Ashawn, CEO ASHON, CEO ASHON.
What's up?
Hey you guys, my name is Yanni. I own a Christian brand called Wise Label, where I help young adults grow their relationship with God.
How can they find you?
Oh, I forgot that part. That part's important. My brand ad on Instagram and TikTok is Wise Label, so WISELABEL, and then my main is Yanni Bratcher, YANNIBRATCHER.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, make sure y'all like, subscribe, follow these amazing Gen Zers. They have real perspective and real conversation. So if you enjoy this, please like, subscribe, and go follow them. All right, we're out.
Yep.
Peace.
If you like the video that you just watched, click this one. You're gonna like this one, maybe even more. Click it right now. You could date somebody and then it's over at them, because I'm not married to you. But in this journey to success, you gotta like practice giving something your all.